gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Miss Brianne, and welcome back to Summer Reading Fairy Tale Fridays. And this is the brief mini-series which is dedicated to our annual Summer Reading Club theme for the summer for 2021, which is Tales with Tales. Now, Tales with Tales, it refers to fairy tales, but it can also refer to stories that have animals as main characters, specifically animals with tails. Now, can you believe this? This is actually, because our summer reading program ends today, this is our very final video for the series. So this will be the last story that I read from the anthology, the collection, The Great Fairy Tales Treasure Chest. Now, before I read from the book, I just want to let you know that the series, the person who put the text in the story or in the series is Peter Holeinone. The adaptation of each of the stories is by Angela Rahaniotis. The illustrators are Tony Wolfe and Pierro Cattaneo. The graphic design and layout is by Zapp. And the publisher is Tormont Publications, Incorporated. Now, today's story is from book 1 of the series. And the story we are going to read from book 1 is called The Conference of the Mice. So as I read this book, think of the important lesson that's to be learned here. But here it is, The Conference of the Mice. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. The Conference of the Mice. Once upon a time, there was a large cat which, from the minute she arrived at the farm, spread terror among the mice that lived in the cellar. Nobody dared go outside for fear of being caught by the awful cat. The mice decided to hold a conference to find a way of stopping the cat. One day, when the cat was away, mice of all ages streamed into the conference room. And certain that they could solve the matter, each one put forward a suggestion. "Let's build a big trap," one mouse suggested. When this idea was turned down, another said, "What about poisoning her?" But nobody knew of a poison that would kill cats. "Let's cut her claws and teeth so she can do no more harm," proposed another. But the conference did not approve of this idea. At last, one of the mice, wiser than the rest, scrambled to the top of the lantern that shone over the meeting. Waving a bell, he called for silence. "We'll tie this bell to the cat's tail so we'll always know where she is. We'll have time to escape, and the slow and weaker mice will hear her coming and be able to hide." A round of heavy applause met the wise mouse's words, and everyone congratulated him on his idea. "We'll tie it so tightly that it will never come off. She'll never be able to sneak quietly up on us again." The wise mouse rang the bell again for silence. "We must decide who is going to tie the bell on the cat's tail," he said. There was not a sound in the room except for a faint murmur. "I can't, because not me. I'd do it, but neither can I. Not me. Not me." Nobody was brave enough to put the plan into action, and the Conference of the Mice ended without any decision being made. It's often very easy to have bright ideas, but putting them into practice is a more difficult matter. All right, and that is the end of the story. So, take a minute or two to think about what the lesson of today's story was. Well, the moral of today's story was, it's great if you have an amazing idea, but if you don't put the idea into action, if you're not brave enough to put your idea into action, then maybe the idea doesn't really matter if you don't put it into action. But in any event, I hope you enjoyed that little story. And like I said before, this is the final video in the series. Can you believe it, boys and girls, how summer ended, is almost over? And you're going to be back in school in a couple of weeks? Time flies when you're having fun. But in any event, I hope you had a great summer. And we are looking forward, myself and the other children's librarians are looking forward for many of you to join us for our programs coming up this fall. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this mini-series. I certainly enjoyed showing you these great fairy tales from this collection. But, as I've always mentioned, all good things must come to an end. So, with that being said, this is Miss Brianne saying take good care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your summer, and I will see you in the fall.